My name is Brian. I come from a small town where everyone speaks the same language. Ever since I was a child, I dreamed of learning English. I used to see tourists in our town, and I wanted to talk to them and understand their stories. I imagined myself traveling to different countries, making new friends from all over the world, and reading books in English. The idea of being able to communicate in another language fascinated me. When I decided to start learning English, I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. It was like opening a door to a new world, full of possibilities. But at the same time, I was worried about making mistakes and not being able to understand or be understood. I knew that learning a new language would be challenging, but I was ready to take on this adventure. I signed up for an English class at a local community center. On the first day of class, I met other students who were also eager to learn. We introduced ourselves, and I felt a little better knowing that I was not alone. Our teacher, Ms. Johnson, was very kind and encouraging. She told us that it was okay to make mistakes because that's how we learn. Her words made me feel more confident and ready to begin my English learning journey. Chapter 1. The Beginning. My first step was learning how to say hello. It seemed simple, just a small word that rolled off the tongue, but it was the start of something big. When I said it for the first time in class, my voice trembled a little, but there was a sense of achievement in those two syllables. Hello opened the door to a new world. From that moment, I felt like I had taken the first step on a long and exciting journey. Ms. Johnson, our teacher, introduced us to other basic phrases. How are you? Was next. It felt a bit more challenging because it required a response, but it was also a way to connect with people. I practiced saying it with my classmates, exchanging how are you, and I am fine, thank you, back and forth. At first, it felt a bit robotic, but as we repeated it, the words started to feel more natural. We also learned to say thank you, which became one of my favorite phrases. It's such a simple way to show appreciation, and I loved how polite it sounded. These basic phrases were like building blocks. Each one was a new addition to my growing ability to communicate in English. I began to see how these simple phrases were more than just words. They were tools for connecting with others. Sometimes, I made mistakes. I remember one time in class when I mixed up "how are you" with "who are you." I asked Maria, "Who are you?" and we both burst out laughing. Even though it was a mistake, it turned into a moment of joy and connection. Maria and I laughed about it for days, and it made me realize that making mistakes was part of the learning process. It wasn't something to be afraid of, but something to embrace. Each mistake was a lesson, and each lesson brought me closer to my goal. Outside of class, I practiced these phrases as much as I could. I would greet my family with hello and how are you, even though they didn't understand English. My younger brother found it amusing and started greeting me back in English, turning it into a fun game. My parents were supportive, even if they didn't know what I was saying. They smiled and nodded, encouraging me to keep practicing. At the local market, I tried using my new phrases with the vendors. The first time I said hello to the fruit seller, he looked surprised but smiled warmly. He didn't speak English, but he responded with a friendly nod. It felt good to use what I had learned in the real world, and each successful interaction boosted my confidence. In the evenings, I would sit down with my English workbook and practice writing the phrases over and over again. I filled pages with, "Hello, how are you?" and "Thank you," perfecting my handwriting and solidifying the words in my memory. I also started listening to English songs, paying close attention to the lyrics. I found that many songs used simple phrases, and singing along helped me improve my pronunciation. Ms. Johnson introduced us to more phrases as the weeks went by. Good morning, good night, please, and you're welcome became part of my growing vocabulary. Each new phrase was like a piece of a puzzle, slowly revealing the bigger picture of the English language. I practiced with Maria, and we would have short conversations using only the phrases we had learned. It was like piecing together a conversation one phrase at a time. One day, Ms. Johnson gave us a fun assignment. She asked us to create a short dialogue using the phrases we had learned. Maria and I teamed up and wrote a simple conversation. "Hello, Maria." "Hello, Anna. How are you?" "I am fine, thank you. And you?" "I am good, thank you. Good night." "Good night, Maria." We performed our dialogue in front of the class, and it felt like a small play. Everyone clapped, and Ms. Johnson praised our effort. It was a simple conversation, but it felt like a big accomplishment. We were using English to communicate, even if it was just a basic exchange. As I continued practicing, I noticed that my confidence was growing. The fear I had felt at the beginning started to fade. I was no longer afraid to make mistakes or to speak up in class. Each new phrase I learned was a step forward, and each mistake was a part of the journey. I started to explore more ways to practice English. I found a language exchange partner online, someone who wanted to learn my native language. We agreed to meet virtually once a week. During our sessions, we would spend half the time speaking in English and the other half in my native language. It was a great way to practice, and I made a new friend in the process. My language partner was patient and kind, and we laughed a lot during our conversations. One of my favorite ways to practice was by watching children's shows in English. The simple language and clear pronunciation made it easy to understand, and the colorful animations kept me entertained. I started with shows designed for toddlers and gradually moved on to programs for older children. It was amazing how much I could understand and learn just by watching and listening. Ms. Johnson encouraged us to keep a journal in English. She said it didn't matter if we made mistakes as long as we practiced writing. I started writing short entries about my day. At first, my sentences were very basic. Today is Monday. I go to school. I learn English. But as I practiced, my sentences became more complex. I started to write about my feelings and experiences, and it became a fun way to express myself. One day I wrote, "Today I went to the park. It was sunny. I met a dog. The dog is brown. I feel happy." When I showed my journal to Ms. Johnson, she smiled and corrected a few small mistakes, but overall she was pleased with my progress. It felt good to see my thoughts on paper in a new language. My family noticed my improvement too. My brother, who had initially found my English amusing, started asking me to teach him new words. We turned it into a game where I would say a word in English, and he would try to guess its meaning. It was a fun way to practice, and it brought us closer together. As the months went by, my vocabulary grew. I learned to ask questions like, "What is your name?" and "Where are you from?" These questions opened up new possibilities for conversation. I practiced with Maria and my language exchange partner, asking and answering questions until it felt natural. Ms. Johnson introduced us to simple grammar rules. We learned about the structure of a sentence and how to use basic verbs. It was like learning the rules of a game. Once I understood the rules, I could play the game more confidently. I started to form more complex sentences and understand how words fit together. One memorable moment was when I had my first full conversation in English with a tourist. A couple from England was visiting our town, and they came to the market where I was shopping with my family. They looked a bit lost, so I gathered my courage and approached them. "Hello," I said, feeling my heart race. "How are you?" They smiled warmly. "We're good, thank you. How are you?" "I am fine, thank you." "Can I help you?" They looked relieved and asked for directions to a nearby attraction. I did my best to explain, using simple words and gestures. They thanked me and continued on their way. It was a short interaction, but it felt like a huge victory. I had used my English to help someone, and it felt amazing. Reflecting on my journey, I realized how far I had come from those first nervous steps. The simple phrase, "hello," had been the beginning of a wonderful adventure. I had learned so much and made new friends along the way. Each new word and phrase added to my ability to communicate and connect with others. Learning English had become a part of my daily life. It was no longer just a subject I studied in class, but a skill I used in real-world situations. I felt proud of my progress and excited about the future. There was still so much to learn, but I knew that I had the tools and the determination to keep going. My journey from hello to more complex conversations taught me that learning a language is not just about memorizing words. It's about connecting with people, embracing mistakes, and celebrating small victories. It's about opening doors to new opportunities and experiences. As I continued on my English learning journey, I knew that each new word and phrase would bring me closer to mastery. It was a journey that required patience and perseverance. But it was also filled with joy and discovery. And with each step I took, I felt more confident and capable, ready to face new challenges and embrace new opportunities. Chapter 2. Learning with Friends. I met Maria on the first day of my English class. She was sitting at the desk next to mine, looking as nervous and excited as I felt. During the class, we had to introduce ourselves to the person sitting next to us. When it was our turn, Maria and I exchanged shy smiles. "Hello, my name is Anna," I said, carefully pronouncing each word. "Hello, Anna. My name is Maria," she replied. We both giggled, relieved to have completed our first interaction in English. From that moment, we became fast friends. Maria and I decided to study together outside of class. We made a pact to help each other learn and practice as much as possible. Every afternoon after school, Maria and I would meet at the local park or one of our houses. We started with the basics, practicing greetings and simple phrases. How are you? I am fine, thank you. What is your name? My name is Anna. These sentences became the foundation of our study sessions. We quickly realized that learning with a friend made the process much more enjoyable. We came up with creative ways to practice. One of our favorite activities was playing language games. We would create flashcards with different words and phrases and test each other. Sometimes, we played a game where we had to describe something without using its name, and the other person had to guess what it was. It was a fun challenge and helped us expand our vocabulary. Another game we loved was English charades. We would act out different actions or emotions, and the other person had to guess what we were doing. This game was not only fun, but also helped us learn new verbs and expressions. We laughed a lot during these games, and it made learning feel like less of a chore and more of an adventure. We also practiced simple conversations. We would pretend to be in different situations, like at a store or a restaurant. One of us would play the role of the customer, and the other would be the cashier or waiter. These role-playing exercises helped us get used to using English in everyday contexts. We learned phrases like, "How much does this cost?" and "I would like to order a pizza, please." The more we practiced, the more natural the conversations felt. Maria and I often helped each other with our homework. If one of us didn't understand something, the other would explain it. This way, we reinforced our own understanding while helping our friend. We also shared resources like books, apps, and websites that we found useful. Sometimes, we would watch English videos together and discuss what we had learned. It was comforting to know that I had a friend who was going through the same challenges and joys of learning a new language. One memorable study session was when we decided to bake cookies together, using an English recipe. We read the instructions aloud, step by step, and tried to follow them. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, I read, slightly unsure about the pronunciation. Maria nodded, and we set the oven temperature. We measured the ingredients, mixed them together, and laughed at our attempts to understand words like teaspoon and cup. The cookies turned out delicious, and we were proud of our achievement. It was a fun and practical way to use our English skills. As we continued our study sessions, I noticed that both Maria and I were becoming more confident in our speaking abilities. The nervousness we initially felt was gradually replaced by excitement. We started to challenge each other with more complex sentences and questions. What did you do yesterday? I went to the market and bought some fruit. Our conversations were becoming more fluid and natural. Maria and I also supported each other emotionally. Whenever one of us felt frustrated or discouraged, the other would offer words of encouragement. "Don't worry, Anna. You're doing great," Maria would say when I struggled with a new word. I would do the same for her. Knowing that we were not alone in this journey made a big difference. We celebrated each other's successes and helped each other through the tough times. One day, Ms. Johnson announced that we would have a small quiz in class. Maria and I decided to prepare together. We reviewed all the phrases and vocabulary we had learned, quizzing each other and practicing until we felt confident. When the day of the quiz arrived, we both did well. It felt like a shared victory, and we celebrated with ice cream after class. Learning with Maria taught me the importance of having a study buddy. It made the process less daunting and more enjoyable. We turned learning into a series of fun activities, games, and challenges. We pushed each other to improve and provided constant support. Our friendship grew stronger as we navigated the ups and downs of learning a new language together. In addition to our study sessions, Maria and I started to use English more in our daily conversations. We would greet each other in English when we met, ask about each other's day, and even try to tell jokes. It was a bit challenging at first, but it helped us get more comfortable with the language. We even made a rule that we would speak only in English for the first half hour of our meetings. This immersion technique really helped improve our fluency. Sometimes we would have English days where we would spend an entire day trying to use as much English as possible. We would visit places where we could interact with tourists, like the local museum or the market. These excursions gave us real-life practice and boosted our confidence. One time, we even gave directions to a couple of lost tourists. It was a great feeling to use our English skills to help others. As we continued our journey, we realized that learning a language is not just about memorizing words and phrases. It's about communication and connection. Our friendship deepened as we shared this learning experience. We laughed together, supported each other, and celebrated our progress. Maria became more than just a study partner. She became a true friend. Looking back, I am grateful for the support and companionship that Maria provided. Learning English was a challenging journey, but having a friend to share it with made all the difference. Together, we turned learning into a fun and rewarding experience. We proved that with determination, creativity, and a little help from a friend, we could achieve our goals. As our English skills improved, Maria and I began to help other classmates who were struggling. We formed a small study group, inviting a few more friends to join us. Our group became a supportive community where we shared resources, practiced together, and encouraged one another. We realized that learning is more effective and enjoyable when done together. In our study group, we started to set goals and challenges for ourselves. We would choose a new topic each week, like shopping or travel, and learn related vocabulary and phrases. We would then create skits and perform them for the group. This not only helped us practice speaking, but also made learning interactive and fun. Maria and I also discovered the joy of learning through stories. We would read simple English stories together, taking turns reading aloud. This helped us improve our pronunciation and comprehension. We would discuss the stories, ask each other questions, and even act out scenes. It was a wonderful way to immerse ourselves in the language. One day, Ms. Johnson gave us a special project to write a short story in English. Maria and I decided to collaborate on the project. We brainstormed ideas, created characters, and wrote a simple but engaging story about two friends on an adventure. We practiced writing sentences, checking grammar, and making sure our story made sense. When we presented our story to the class, it was a proud moment for both of us. Through these experiences, I learned that language is a bridge that connects people. It's not just about learning words, it's about understanding cultures, sharing experiences, and building friendships. Maria and I helped each other grow, not just as English learners but as individuals. Our journey together made the process of learning English a memorable and enjoyable experience. As I continue my journey to mastering English, I carry with me the lessons I learned with Maria. I know that with determination, creativity, and the support of friends, I can achieve my goals. Learning with friends made the journey easier, more fun, and incredibly rewarding. It's a reminder that together we can overcome challenges and celebrate our successes. Chapter 3: Everyday Practice. Every day, I practiced English. From the moment I woke up until I went to bed, I tried to incorporate English into my daily routines. At first, it was challenging, but I knew that consistent practice was the key to mastering the language. One of my favorite ways to practice was listening to English songs. I discovered that music made learning more enjoyable and helped me remember words and phrases. I started with simple songs, the kind you would hear in children's shows, because they used clear and repetitive language. As I got more comfortable, I moved on to pop songs. I would listen to the lyrics carefully, looking up the meaning of any words I didn't understand. Singing along helped me improve my pronunciation and rhythm. Watching kids' shows in English was another effective method. These shows were designed to be easy to understand, with simple dialogues and clear pronunciation. I began with shows for toddlers, where the language was very basic. Characters would say things like, "Hello, my name is," "I am happy," and "Look at this." As I grew more confident, I started watching shows aimed at older children. The stories were more complex, and the vocabulary was richer. I found myself understanding more and more each day. One of my favorite shows was about a little blue dog and her family. The characters spoke slowly and used everyday language, which made it perfect for practice. I would watch an episode and then try to retell the story to Maria in English. This exercise helped me practice speaking and reinforced what I had learned. I also tried to use English whenever I went shopping or interacted with new people. At the market, I would greet vendors with "hello" and ask questions like, "How much is this?" Even though many of them didn't speak English, they appreciated my efforts and tried to help me. I remember one time when I was buying apples. I asked the vendor, "How much are the apples?" He smiled and replied in broken English, $2 for 1 kilo. These small interactions boosted my confidence and made English feel like a natural part of my life. Another method I used was thinking in English. Whenever I did something, I would describe it to myself in English. If I was brushing my teeth, I would think, "I am brushing my teeth." If I was cooking, I would think, "I am cooking dinner." This habit helped me become more fluent in forming sentences and thinking quickly in English. I also started keeping a journal in English. Every evening, I would write a few sentences about my day. At first, my entries were very simple, like, "Today I went to school, I learned English, I played with my friends," Over time, my sentences became more complex as I learned new vocabulary and grammar. Writing in my journal helped me practice spelling and sentence structure. It was a great way to reflect on my day and track my progress. My family was very supportive of my efforts. Even though they didn't speak English, they encouraged me to practice. My younger brother would often ask me to teach him new words. It became a fun game for us. I would say a word in English, and he would try to guess its meaning. We laughed a lot, and it made learning enjoyable for both of us. I also found that reading simple English books was a great way to practice. I started with picture books meant for young children. The colorful illustrations helped me understand the story, and the simple sentences made it easy to follow along. As my reading skills improved, I moved on to books with more text and fewer pictures. Reading helped me expand my vocabulary and improve my comprehension skills. Ms. Johnson, my English teacher, encouraged us to label things around our house with their English names. I took this advice to heart and put labels on almost everything: door, window, table, chair, fridge, and so on. Seeing these labels every day reinforced my vocabulary. Whenever I used these items, I would say their names in English, either out loud or in my head. It was a constant reminder and a practical way to learn. Another daily practice was using English in my thoughts. Whenever I had a free moment, I would think about what I was doing or planning to do in English. For example, if I was walking to the store, I would think, I am walking to the store. I need to buy milk and bread. This mental exercise helped me become more fluent in forming sentences and thinking in English. I also found language learning apps very helpful. These apps had interactive exercises, quizzes, and games that made learning fun. I could practice vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation anytime, anywhere. It was like having a personal tutor in my pocket. I set aside a few minutes each day to use these apps, and it made a big difference in my learning. One of the most effective methods for me was speaking practice. I joined an online language exchange community where I could chat with native English speakers who wanted to learn my native language. We would have video calls and spend half the time speaking in English and the other half in my language. This real-time practice was invaluable. It helped me get used to different accents and improved my listening and speaking skills. Practicing English every day wasn't always easy. There were times when I felt tired or frustrated. Sometimes I struggled with new words or grammar rules, but I reminded myself of my goals and the progress I had made. I kept pushing forward, knowing that each small step brought me closer to mastery. My efforts paid off. Gradually, I noticed significant improvements. I could understand more when listening to English songs and watching shows. My conversations at the market became smoother. I could write longer and more detailed entries in my journal. I felt more confident speaking with my language exchange partner and participating in class discussions. English became a part of my daily life. It was no longer just a subject I studied in school. It was a skill I used every day. Whether I was listening to music, watching shows, shopping, or chatting with friends, English was always there. This constant practice made it second nature. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that the key to my progress was consistency. By integrating English into my daily routines, I created an immersive learning environment. Every song, show, conversation, and thought in English was a step toward fluency. It wasn't always easy, but it was worth it. My daily practice not only improved my language skills, but also gave me a deeper appreciation for the learning process. It taught me patience, perseverance, and the importance of small, consistent efforts. Each day, I learned something new, and each day, I grew a little more confident. As I continue my journey to mastering English, I carry with me the lessons I've learned through everyday practice. I know that with dedication and consistency, I can achieve my goals. English has become a part of my life, and I am excited to see where this journey will take me. Chapter 4: Overcoming Obstacles. Learning English was not always easy. There were many times when I made mistakes and felt frustrated. The initial excitement of learning new words and phrases often gave way to the reality of the difficulties involved. Pronunciation was tricky, grammar rules seemed confusing, and sometimes I couldn't find the right words to express myself. But despite these challenges, I did not give up. One of the biggest obstacles I faced was understanding and using correct grammar. English grammar has many rules and exceptions, and it was easy to get them mixed up. For example, I often struggled with verb tenses. I would mix up I went with I go, or I am going. It was frustrating because even when I knew the rules, I found it hard to apply them correctly in conversation. Another challenge was pronunciation. English has many sounds that do not exist in my native language. Words that looked simple on paper could be very hard to say correctly. I remember struggling with words like though, through, and thought. They seemed so similar yet sounded so different. Sometimes, my mispronunciations led to funny misunderstandings, but they also made me self-conscious about speaking. Despite these challenges, I knew that perseverance was key. I decided to ask my teacher, Ms. Johnson, for help. She was always patient and willing to explain things multiple times. I approached her after class one day and told her about my difficulties with grammar. She smiled and reassured me that making mistakes was a natural part of the learning process. Ms. Johnson gave me extra exercises to practice verb tenses and other grammar rules. She also recommended some grammar books and websites that had clear explanations and plenty of practice activities. I spent extra time each day working through these exercises. It was hard work, but gradually I began to see improvement. The more I practiced, the more the rules started to make sense. For pronunciation, Ms. Johnson suggested that I listen to English as much as possible and mimic native speakers. She introduced me to phonetic exercises that focused on difficult sounds. I also found online resources like videos and apps that provided pronunciation guides and practice. One app allowed me to record my voice and compare it with a native speaker's pronunciation. This was incredibly helpful because it showed me exactly where I needed to improve. I also used language learning apps to supplement my studies. These apps had interactive exercises, quizzes, and games that made learning fun. They provided immediate feedback, which helped me understand my mistakes and learn from them. I set aside time every day to use these apps, and it made a significant difference in my learning. Despite all my efforts, there were still times when I felt overwhelmed. Learning a new language is a long and challenging journey, and progress can sometimes feel slow. There were days when I felt like giving up. But during these times, I reminded myself of my goals and the reasons why I wanted to learn English. I thought about the places I wanted to visit, the friends I wanted to make, and the books I wanted to read. These thoughts kept me motivated. One day, after a particularly difficult class, I was feeling very discouraged. I had stumbled over my words during a conversation exercise and felt embarrassed. Ms. Johnson noticed my frustration and asked me to stay after class. She sat with me and shared a story about her own struggles with learning a foreign language. She told me that everyone makes mistakes and that the most important thing is to keep trying. Her words gave me a renewed sense of determination. My hard work started to pay off. I noticed that I was making fewer mistakes in my grammar exercises. My pronunciation improved, and I felt more confident speaking in class. I could understand more when listening to English songs and watching shows. These small victories boosted my confidence and encouraged me to keep going. One memorable moment was when I received my first positive feedback on a speaking assignment. We had to give a short presentation in English, and I chose to talk about my favorite hobby, cooking. I practiced for days, working on my pronunciation and making sure I used correct grammar. When I finished my presentation, Ms. Johnson smiled and said, "Well done, Anna. Your English has improved a lot." Hearing those words made all the hard work worth it. Another significant milestone was when I had my first fluent conversation with a native English speaker. It happened during a family trip to a nearby tourist spot. I met an English-speaking tourist who was looking for directions. I managed to understand his questions and give him clear directions. We even chatted for a few minutes about the local area. It was a short conversation, but it felt like a huge achievement. I realized that my efforts were paying off, and I was becoming more proficient in English. My journey was not without setbacks, but each challenge I faced made me stronger and more determined. I learned to embrace my mistakes as learning opportunities. I realized that perseverance and a positive attitude were crucial in overcoming obstacles. I also learned the importance of seeking help and using available resources. Through this process, I discovered that learning a language is not just about memorizing words and rules. It's about practice, patience, and persistence. It's about pushing through the frustration and celebrating the progress, no matter how small. I also learned the value of setting small, achievable goals. Each time I reached a goal, it motivated me to keep going. Looking back, I am proud of how far I've come. The challenges I faced were significant, but so were the rewards. My ability to communicate in English opened up new opportunities and experiences. It allowed me to connect with people from different cultures and backgrounds. It gave me confidence and a sense of accomplishment. As I continue my journey to mastering English, I know that there will be more obstacles to overcome. But I am prepared to face them with determination and a positive mindset. I am grateful for the support of my teacher, friends, and family who encouraged me along the way. Their belief in me helped me believe in myself. Learning English was not easy, but it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. It taught me resilience, perseverance, and the power of hard work. It showed me that with dedication and the right support, I could achieve my goals. My journey is far from over, but I am excited about the future and the new challenges and opportunities that await. Chapter 5: Achieving Milestones. I celebrated every little victory along my journey of learning English. Each small success marked a significant step forward and kept me motivated. These milestones were proof that my hard work and perseverance were paying off. One of the first major milestones was when I ordered food in English for the first time. I remember that day clearly. Maria and I had decided to visit a local cafe that was popular with tourists. We had practiced our order in English beforehand, but I was still nervous. When it was my turn, I took a deep breath and said, "I would like a cup of coffee and a sandwich, please." The cashier understood me perfectly and responded in English. I felt a surge of pride and relief. This small achievement boosted my confidence immensely. Making new friends who spoke English was another important milestone. During our study group sessions, Maria and I met several other students who were also learning English. We started spending more time together, practicing our language skills through conversation. We would talk about our hobbies, favorite books, and future dreams. These conversations helped me become more fluent and comfortable speaking in English. One day, our study group decided to have an English-only picnic. The rule was that we could only speak English for the entire afternoon. At first, it was challenging, and there were moments of awkward silence as we searched for the right words. But as the day went on, we relaxed and started enjoying ourselves. We talked about everything from our favorite foods to our plans for the future. By the end of the day, I realized how much my speaking skills had improved. It felt great to have a full day of meaningful conversations in English. Another memorable milestone was when I successfully completed my first English book. It was a simple children's book, but finishing it gave me a tremendous sense of accomplishment. I could understand the story and even discuss it with Maria. We talked about the characters, the plot, and our favorite parts of the book. This experience showed me that I was making real progress in my reading and comprehension skills. Participating in class activities also became a source of pride. Ms. Johnson often organized group discussions and presentations. Initially, I was hesitant to speak up, fearing that I would make mistakes. But with each passing week, my confidence grew. One day, Ms. Johnson asked us to give a short presentation about our favorite holiday. I chose to talk about my family's New Year celebrations. I practiced diligently, and when the time came, I spoke clearly and confidently. My classmates and Ms. Johnson applauded my effort, and I felt incredibly proud. My improved English skills also helped me in my daily life. I began to understand more when listening to English songs and watching shows. I could follow the storylines and enjoy the humor. One day, while watching a popular English TV show, I realized that I could understand almost everything without subtitles. This was a significant milestone for me. It made me feel more connected to the language and culture. One of the most significant milestones was when I helped a tourist with directions. I was walking home from school when a lost tourist approached me. He asked for directions to a nearby museum. I was able to understand his question and provide clear directions in English. The tourist thanked me, and we chatted briefly about the city. This interaction boosted my confidence and made me realize that my English skills were practical and useful. Another proud moment was when I wrote my first full essay in English. Ms. Johnson had assigned us to write about our dream job. I chose to write about becoming a teacher. I spent a lot of time drafting and revising my essay, making sure to use correct grammar and vocabulary. When I received my graded essay, I was thrilled to see positive feedback and a good grade. This milestone showed me that my writing skills were improving, and it motivated me to keep working hard. As I continued to achieve these milestones, my confidence grew with each conversation and experience. I no longer felt as nervous speaking in English. Instead, I started to enjoy it. I looked forward to opportunities to use my English skills, whether it was chatting with friends, participating in class, or helping someone in need. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that each milestone, no matter how small, was an important part of my growth. Ordering food in English, making new friends, completing my first book, and giving presentations were all steps that led me closer to fluency. These achievements were not just about learning a language. They were about building confidence, forming connections, and opening up new opportunities. Learning English transformed from a daunting challenge into an exciting adventure. I discovered that with each milestone, I was not only improving my language skills, but also gaining a deeper understanding of myself and the world around me. My journey was filled with moments of pride and joy, and I learned to celebrate each step forward. As I continue my path to mastering English, I look forward to achieving more milestones. Each one is a testament to my hard work and determination. I am grateful for the support of my friends, teachers, and family who have encouraged me along the way. Their belief in me has helped me believe in myself. Achieving these milestones has shown me that anything is possible with dedication and perseverance. I am excited about the future and the new challenges and opportunities that await. My journey is far from over, but I am confident that I will continue to grow and succeed. Chapter 6. Reflecting on the Journey. Looking back, I see how much I have learned. When I first started, I could barely say, hello. Now, I can have full conversations in English, understand complex ideas, and express my thoughts clearly. My journey has been filled with challenges, but each obstacle has made me stronger and more determined. I remember the excitement and nervousness of my first English class, the struggles with grammar and pronunciation, and the small victories that kept me motivated. Each step, no matter how small, contributed to my progress. From learning basic phrases to engaging in detailed conversations, every effort I made was a building block toward my goal. I feel proud of my progress. It's amazing to see how far I've come. I used to be afraid of making mistakes, but now I see them as opportunities to learn. Each mistake taught me something new and brought me closer to fluency. My confidence has grown with every conversation and interaction in English. One of the most rewarding aspects of my journey has been the connections I've made. I've met wonderful people, both native speakers and fellow learners, who have supported and encouraged me. These friendships have enriched my learning experience and made it more enjoyable. Sharing our struggles and successes created a sense of community and belonging. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that learning English has not only improved my language skills, but also changed me as a person. It taught me patience, perseverance, and the value of hard work. I learned that consistency and dedication are key to achieving any goal. Each milestone, from ordering food to writing essays, was a testament to my efforts and determination. My journey shows that anyone can learn English with effort and patience. It's not about being perfect, it's about making progress. It's about celebrating the small victories and learning from the setbacks. It's about believing in yourself and staying committed to your goals. I am grateful for the support of my teachers, friends, and family who believed in me and encouraged me every step of the way. Their support made a significant difference in my learning experience. They reminded me that I was not alone in this journey and that my efforts were valued and appreciated. As I continue to learn and grow, I am excited about the future. I know there will be more challenges, but I am confident in my ability to overcome them. My journey has shown me that with determination and the right support, I can achieve anything I set my mind to. Learning English has opened up new opportunities and experiences for me. It has broadened my horizons and allowed me to connect with people from different cultures and backgrounds. It has given me the confidence to pursue my dreams and aspirations. I hope my story inspires others who are learning English or any new skill. Remember that every journey begins with a single step. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and keep moving forward. Believe in yourself and your ability to succeed. With effort, patience, and perseverance, you can achieve your goals. My journey is far from over, but I am proud of what I have accomplished so far. I look forward to continuing my learning and discovering new milestones along the way. The future is full of possibilities, and I am excited to see where this journey will take me. Learning English has been an amazing journey. It has been a path filled with both challenges and triumphs, each teaching me valuable lessons. This experience has shown me the importance of perseverance and practice. Every effort, no matter how small, has contributed to my growth and improvement. Throughout this journey, I have realized that learning a language is not just about memorizing words and rules. It's about immersing yourself in the language, embracing mistakes as learning opportunities, and celebrating every milestone. The progress I've made from saying hello to having full conversations in English is a testament to the power of consistent effort and dedication. I know I will continue to learn and improve. Learning is a lifelong journey, and there is always something new to discover. I am excited to keep building on the foundation I have created and to reach even higher levels of fluency and understanding. To all beginners, remember, every step you take brings you closer to mastery. It might be difficult at times, and you may face obstacles that seem insurmountable. But keep going. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. Each word you learn, each conversation you have, brings you one step closer to your goal. Never give up. Persevere through the challenges and practice regularly. Surround yourself with supportive people who encourage and motivate you. Use all the resources available to you: books, apps, songs, and shows. Immerse yourself in the language and make it a part of your daily life. My journey shows that anyone can learn English with effort and patience. Believe in yourself and your ability to succeed. With dedication and persistence, you can achieve your goals. Keep going, and you will reach mastery. Learning English has not only given me a new skill, but also a sense of accomplishment and confidence. It has opened doors to new opportunities and connections. I am grateful for this journey and look forward to continuing it. To everyone on their own language learning journey, keep pushing forward, stay committed, and never give up. The rewards of your hard work are worth every effort.